That'd be nice.
We're not Asheville, huh? Or worse yet, we're not over in the Middle East.
Yeah. What's going on there?
Voting and doing money and.
You're right there.
You know, I could just say, no, but let me see. Right.
All right, let me go check it, huh?
The budget is leading us for them and what they need.
And a couple of the officers even said she'd go for a ride along with us too if she'd like. You know, we'll only go for like a couple hours. It doesn't even have to be the whole shift, either one of them.
No, that's great, thank you.
Yes.
You know, I can't see if there's any comments.
I didn't touch it and I just got here, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. We're live, I just can't see the, maybe I'm in the.
Oh, you can't see the, these are the stream settings.
Yeah, I had all four of them over the other day.
Yeah, I like the shoes.
Yes, yes.
Looks good, though. I got volume, I got everything. Brian?
Do ya?
Yeah, do you need me to check it again?
No, I'm just trying to, she's on a different screen here for some reason. You're on the settings.
It's working, though, that's all I know.
Stream status. It's working?
Yes. So I don't know if
I
you
don't
want
know
to do
what this
anything, or
is
just,
about.
I
No.
check it again.
Concurrent viewers.
Here we go.
It used to be over here, right? On
Yeah,
this
down
side?
at the bottom, maybe.
No.
I can see and hear the back row real good now.
I'm wondering if this, it was down, I rolled it up.
Well, I think we're good. I hear it, and
Yeah, I don't know. You want to just play around with it during the...
you want to just leave it until we're done?
Yeah. She just can't get it if somebody texts or chats in.
I don't see the chat on here.
I'll just tell people that.
It's
What else can we
unavailable,
Yeah.
because it says.
Well, let me look on mine, though. Hang on a minute, though.
It wouldn't be on yours.
I usually see the chat on mine.
Oh, okay.
It says we have 3 viewers, there's just no chat box.
How's life treating everybody otherwise? Good?
Yep, how about you?
No problems.
I can check it every so often. You can do that. I see it on mine.
Except for the Browns.
I don't think I
Oh,
can
that
type
was awful.
anything in.
When they lose like that, I
wouldn't see it.
regret
They should've won, though.
watching it. I regret watching it then. It's like, oh, wasting all that time.
Council ready?
Yep.
Everybody else ready?
Not the quarterbacks.
Okay.
Yeah. On her screen, there used to be, there is somewhere.
Good evening,
See all the chats.
everybody. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Village of Walton Hills Committee of the Whole meeting of Tuesday, October 1st, 2024 at 7:02 p.m. Next order of business is pledge allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Nikki, would you like to do roll call?
Councilman Nielsen?
Here.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Here.
Councilwoman Allen?
Here.
Councilman Spitznagel?
Here.
Councilman Whedon?
Present. All of council present, along with our fiscal officer, Nicole Sell, our fiscal clerk, Melissa Sandrick, and our law solicitor, John Montello. Okay. Any comments related to the agenda item? And as we move on and talk about it, if anybody has any comments, they can make them at that time too, so. Okay. We have item 5, legislation, which is ordinance 2024-11. That's our annual notes refunding. Matt Stawinski, who works with us along with Brickler and Eckler, are putting that together along, of course, with Nikki and Melissa. Matt couldn't be here tonight, but he will be here a week from today. So he will be here Tuesday to go through everything. And he said it probably would work out better. He'll probably have more of a handle on maybe where they'll come in at or whatever. So he will be here at 7 o'clock next Tuesday. Nikki, did you want to just touch base on anything with that or talk about it? Or does anybody have any specific questions for Nikki at this time?
I did receive an email that said, from Dan Sellers. He said that the par amount of the Series 24 notes is expected to be $1,820,000. We anticipate pricing the notes on 10/23/24 with a closing on 11/13/24. That is the last update I received.
And what did we put in the budget? What was the amount? $80,000 to pay down on it?
It was
We
100.
had
Was it
100.
100, okay, so we're paying 100 down this year. And that was what Matt suggested at that time?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions related to the note? So we got a little cushion. Be nice to have Matt here talk about it with Nikki and Melissa, and then we can discuss it and maybe have legislation for the council meeting. If not, we always could have, we'll have the first COW meeting. We could have a special meeting if we needed to think about something more, make some changes or whatever. So we got a little time. Yeah. And people wonder why we don't start it. It's because we really can't. It's that window, right? It's that window when they put them out for bid.
Rates just went down also.
That's what we were just all saying. We're hoping that will be in our favor. The interest rate going down.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Jennifer.
Nikki, would you or Melissa be able to give us something that says what's left on all of these notes for us?
Sure.
I think that's in the document.
I didn't see it in there
I didn't see
specifically.
it.
It listed what it's for, but I
Right.
don't know the
But not to know what
amounts.
the,
The amount.
yeah, how much is left on the Dunham Road project or the Sagamore Road project.
Sure.
Things like that. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from council or any residents that are here or any non-residents or anybody that's watching the live stream tonight? Okay. We'll move on to item 6, finance discussion. I know we have the report that we received last month, which was the closeout of August, correct, Nikki?
Correct. We're working now to close out September. We're waiting on a few items and should have something hopefully by next week or at the latest the council meeting.
I know there was an item that I did want to talk about, and we could talk about anything if anybody has any questions with the budget or anything to do with finance. I know we wanted to start because I know the goal council set in administration was to try to get the budget approved before the end of the year. One of the things that we talked about in, I think, the last COW or last council meeting, we talked about the service department. They receive a food allowance, but we haven't found anything in writing regarding that, and so we wanted to shore that up. I know we talked, it's at $250. We talked about maybe, because it hasn't been increased for a long time, to put it at $300. If if everybody was okay with that, John would put some legislation together. They would be paid with that the same way we're doing the police and dispatch, according to the auditor, how the auditor wants those items to be paid. So it kind of just would clean that up a little bit. I know Ray, you had a couple of questions about that for Nikki?
Yeah, Mayor Colograph and for Nikki. The question I had was, will the service department be restricted to one place they could shop, or would there be multiple vendors? The reason I ask that question is, you know, boots are boots are boots are boots, but that's not really true. And what works for one may not work for another. So if there's a vendor that has a wide variety of boots that covers everybody, that would be a wonderful thing. But if they're restricted to just a couple pair, it may not work. So I'm just curious where they can make their purchases from. Is there more than one vendor?
Well, I haven't talked to Rob yet on exactly how they purchase or where they purchase. If we could get it down to one vendor, I agree, that would be great. I guess that would be determined in the legislation, John, how and where they can purchase their items. It would obviously have to be tax exempt purchases. So I can talk to Rob about that and what the best approach would be.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know where boots, you know, where the best place to buy
Right.
boots anymore, but.
Right.
Now we got that ring.
We'll try to have a vendor with multiple different styles that, he should make sure they have the correct boots too. Whatever, we can talk to him about it and do it any way he would like, or the correct way.
They do use Syntest for their uniforms. And we all know Syntest carries a large array of boots throughout the industry. So, but we'll see. But as far as how it's going to be paid the same way we're going to do the other departments, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
So everything's uniform through all the departments.
So that's actually that's a purchase order sort of
Correct.
kind of thing. Okay, not a reimbursement.
No.
So is it, go ahead.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I
No,
was just
go
gonna
ahead.
say, I would suggest at least 2 places or 3 that they could, because
Right.
the prices can vary wildly from what store to store that you go to. And even though they could be the exact same 511 steel-toed ankle boots, you know, they could be almost twice as much at another vendor. So if we give them an option, I'm sure the guys will be smart with their money
Right.
to make it go as far as possible.
But we are in agreement, it was $250, correct?
Correct.
We are in agreement to put the 300 in the legislation? Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay. Any other thing to talk about as far as finance? We did get the truck. You guys approved the truck. They did pick up the truck. Any other discussion? Go ahead, Brian.
Mr. Mayor, for Nicole, as we get into the season here to start thinking about the budget for the 2025 year, I just ran some rough numbers, and correct me if I'm wrong, or add to it if you see fit. This year's budget, we pass it with round numbers, $1.2 million deficit.
Correct.
We added $364,000 to that, a net of $364,000, correct?
Correct.
So that's a $1.574 million deficit. Now, I know you had said that that's over March's budget, not over current numbers as far as revenues. And I know you had said that our revenues had increased year over year, approximately 10%, correct?
Yes.
According to your last
Mhm.
Report. The capital projects for '24, I did some simple math, and they netted an expenditure of a little bit more than $482,000, okay, for this year. And I'm talking about the roads and streets and stuff like that within our budget. If we just take that out, as if we did no capital road projects, we're still talking about $1 million deficit, okay, from the budgeted numbers in March. So in 25, we've got streets, which I'm sure Mr. Whedon is going to have an infrastructure meeting here shortly, and we'll be
Week from
discussing
today, correct,
this.
Correct.
Is $250,000 for next year, which is a far cry from this year. However, we did not do Ryan, Kaylee, Fern, Logan, Dunham Lane. That's $578,000. So that total is $828,000 in round numbers. So that we would add to that, again, going off of March's projected budget, $1 million deficit. I would like to talk to Mr. Stawinski next week about, and I believe our bonds were down to 1.8 million bonded out. I believe we started at 2.2 was our highest. So we've,
Might even been a little more.
yeah, so we've pared that down significantly throughout these last few years. It actually didn't take us all that long to do that. I'd like to talk to him about the prospect of doing these capital projects and bonding that out to help us shore up our budget deficit if we were going to do all of these capital projects to begin with. And I'd like to talk to Mr. Gelati also about, I know that's his wish list of things to do, but what really needs to be done. And I know we've got this project up here that Mr. Nielsen was talking about before the meeting started with, TIF money coming in, some more added revenues coming in from those buildings up there. Would you be able to put something together for us, something simple, based on Mr. Jordan's estimates of
Gelati?
added, no, Mr. Tom Jordan's
Okay.
estimates
Oh.
of those monies coming in possibly for next year that we
Those would
can,
fall under Matt, so that would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matt would have a better handle on it.
maybe Matt, yeah,
Matt,
okay.
oh, he would, yeah.
That-
He's the one who wrote the tips, yep.
The TIFs plus any of the revenue from income tax employees that would be working there, just so we can kind of get a handle on an increase in revenue over this year,
Right.
and kind of where we're at this year as we're heading towards the last quarter here, or we're in the last quarter.
Right.
How that 1.2 projected deficit is actually shoring up for us. So we have a better idea of
Right.
where we can start from, and if we need to be sharpening our pencils to get that down. Because I sure don't want to pass a $1.8 million budget deficit for next year.
Right. And I have started working on next year's budget. Hopefully, I'm gonna be meeting, Melissa and I will be meeting with the department heads next week. I'm working on my initial numbers so that at least then we'll know where the general fund and the street fund are coming in at, or an initial idea, starting figures to work with. So
Okay.
hopefully we'll be able to present that in the next couple of weeks.
Very good, thank you. Thank you,
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe Joe Gelati, the village engineer, said that he was going to reevaluate. They had a new system. They were either going to start that this fall or next spring, but I would certainly hope that those streets that we spoke of, Logan and Ryan and Chaley, however you say it, I don't know. But Logan and Fern also would be on there. We just don't know, but I thought that was the plan. Is that still going forward, to reevaluate all the roads in the village?
I remember, Mr. Mayor? Oh,
Yep,
Mayor
go
Colgrove.
ahead, go ahead.
Yeah, so
'Cause
that
I can
was,
answer too, but go
that
ahead.
was the plan, but where exactly is that evaluation? I can't elaborate on that. Perhaps we'll hear from Mr. Gelati next week.
Okay.
That was actually what he said, that was gonna be part of your infrastructure committee.
Oh, okay. All right.
They
Thank
kinda-
you, Councilman.
But those Fern, Logan, and those other streets that you named, those were very poor, I think what the rating was. So that, the assumption was, once those were done, then you take a look at the remainder, reevaluate everything else. So the ratings for those, I don't think will change, because they were already very poor.
Right. And it probably gotten worse since
Yeah,
then.
it's the rest of the village.
And we did apply, as you probably seen in the journal, for Ryan Estates, we only missed that grant by 2 points. Bless you. So Joe suggested we reapply for that. As you've seen, we should know the results sometime in February.
Usually three. I just
Not that
warned
that isn't gonna help us with the planning, because but what it will tell us is, do we wanna include that on the worst scenario and include that maybe with a note if we don't get it? And then if we get it, it's just that much better. We're really hoping, because we just missed it by 2 points, and things have gotten worse with it, and we feel we might have a good chance with that. Yeah, I think, what do you think, Nikki? I think those are, and something we can call Matt about and get him on board with that, so he can be well prepared for the meeting on Tuesday.
thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead, John.
Nikki, do you think you guys will have September closed by next week, or no?
I think so. Yeah, we're just waiting on a few items to come in, so we should have an update.
Thank you.
As you know, we wrapped up the CBA, all that final stuff. Nikki's now just, and Melissa are just working to make sure it gets all through payroll and everything. But as far as both parties signed, and it's all final and that. So that's another thing. Okay, any other finance discussion from any residents, non-residents, anybody watching the live stream, council? Okay, move on to other business. The only thing I had was just to kind of let council know, Nikki put out with the packet, our COW meeting packet, the email about the insurances, when the due dates are, and then we just made a copy, and everybody got a copy. Ray, yours is in your box.
I have it.
Oh, did you grab it? Okay. Because I put everybody, I wasn't sure about tonight. So, just to kind of touch base with that, Jennifer, I know that falls under you right now. I don't know how you guys are gonna do. We got the council. At the first of the year, we have to talk about committees again, correct? But regardless of that, me and Nikki were talking, really nothing's due. Vision is due 1/1, but it was 2 years, correct, Nikki? And we're not gonna change anything, so it would just roll over unless council decided they wanted to change anything, but I haven't heard anything. The employees are happy, and so why not keep it another year? So we really don't have to worry about anything, I guess, after the first of the year, start worrying about that 3/31 date with property liability and the auto. And cyber, I think, is included in that too, right, Nikki? And-
Right.
Yeah. So, I just kind of want to touch base, and now everybody sees it, so we're not, we haven't had time. Oh, also the FSA, the flexible spending, that renews 1/1, but that will also auto-renew unless we're gonna make any changes, and we weren't gonna make any changes there that I'm aware of. Okay, so everybody's good, we'll let those those two renew, and then we'll just move forward next year with the other one. Pretty much that was, Nikki, you and Melissa's plan too with that?
Right.
Okay. That's all I have as far as business-wise. Does anybody else have anything for old or new business?
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah, go ahead.
to remind everybody that Sunday is the haunted hayride,
There you go.
5:30 to 8:30, and I will be in disguise, so you can try and figure out who I am, and looking forward to it. I know the kids enjoy it as well as the adults.
Good, and I think the weather looks good. We got the Lake Club Clam Bake Saturday. They're trying it at a different time, instead of having it more later in the evening, it's more earlier. It's earlier during the day, which might work out nice, a little warmer and stuff. We'll see how that goes. I mean, it's gonna be nice anyway, you look at it. I've never been to a band, I don't think anybody here's ever been to, whether the men's club, the Lake Club, or any clam. I've never been to a bad clam bake. They're always good. It's like a wedding. They're always good, you know. And then, yeah, then we got the hayride, so got a little village weekend here. Anything else? Go ahead, Brian.
President Jimmy Carter is 100 years
Oh,
old today.
today.
Happy
Wow.
birthday.
Yes,
Yep.
Yep.
yeah. No one else has
Oldest-
ever reached
Oldest
100.
living president.
President. Mhm.
Yep,
Talk about a humanitarian, too.
yep.
Gosh. You know,
Yes,
I
him
don't
and his
think
wife.
anybody before or after him can touch him with his humanitarian work.
What a big part and Habitat for Humanity and all that, gosh. He still looks good, too, yeah. I'm worried about 70, let alone 100, wow. But,
Hey, he's almost there. Let me,
Oh.
that's how it feels.
Dealing with you, I feel like 100.
Mr. Mayor?
yes, go ahead, John.
I'd just like you guys to know, we are having a safety and insurance meeting on Monday, October 21st. It'll be at 2:30 PM. The chief had several things that he wanted to discuss, needed to discuss the future of the department, grants, dispatching, so.
And then Ray, you,
2:30.
What was that date, Mr. Mayor?
oh, go.
21st, October 21st, it's a Monday.
Yes, okay.
And Ray, did you want to announce your meeting?
Your
2:30.
infrastructure meeting is next Tuesday. It would have been today, but we moved back 1 week. Next Tuesday, November the 8th at 6 o'clock PM.
So it'll be before this
Correct.
meeting.
Okay.
So if any of the committee members or mayor, if you have some items you want put on the agenda, please send me an email.
Okay,
And try to get
good.
it out before the weekend.
Okay, I will do that.
I will get an agenda out before that 21st and put one in everyone's
Right.
mailboxes too, so you guys have it.
And a lot of that, I know I'm aware of. Jennifer, me, you, and the chief have talked on
Mhm.
that stuff. Same thing Ray would, but, good. Okay. And any residents have like to make a comment? Come on up to the mic. I'm sure.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. James Conkey, Somerset Drive. If you need a house number, it's 7700. My subject has a couple parts to it. Just start out with deer. Have we ever thought about culling the deer? What do we need to do to start this process, or at least bring it to the village's attention? Number two, Independence allows hunting on their property as long as they have 2 acres, and the deer stand has been inspected by the chief of police. And this is for bow hunting, this isn't for shotgun. So I don't expect an answer tonight, but I think we need to address it. I cannot be the only one that does not see the excessive amount of these creatures on the property.
Go ahead. You have any other questions? Or is that it?
That's, any questions for me, sir?
No, but does anybody want to answer that? Because if not, I can answer it.
Go ahead.
A few years back, residents it went to the ballot. Okay, so a resident petitioned it, got enough signatures, correct? It went on the ballot, and the residents voted against it. It was, we'd have to look at this specific, we could go back, if you wanted, you go back to the Board of Elections on a computer. I'm not asking you to go down there, but you know, you can see everything on the computer. And you could look, how many years ago was that? I know I was on council. How many, Brian?
It was a long time ago.
Were you on council?
That's how long ago it was. I don't.
But it was on the ballot, and the residents voted on it. So there's, the answer to your question is if the residents, you would petition, get a petition, go down to the county, get a petition, and get signatures to put it on the ballot. I think that's the way to go about it. That'd be up to council. If council wanted to pass something, I don't even know, I don't know, can they, or does it have to go on the ballot?
I'd have to see what happened.
Mr. Mayor,
Yeah,
is that for culling them, or is that for hunting?
it was for both.
It was
Killing,
for
it
both
was,
on
yep, using and it was for crossbow too. It was from thing, but I'd have to look at the exact wording, it's been a while.
So-
But I know, all I could tell you in a general fashion is it was on the ballot and the residents voted it down.
Okay, now, since you stated that it was a long, long time ago, and we
Yeah.
have a different group and different thought process, I hope to God, in the village, what do I need to do, or other members listening to this tonight, need to do to let the village vote on this again?
I think what you have to do, but John, you can,
I don't know if it's codified, I don't know if it's in the ordinances or not.
yeah, we'd have to, that answer we'd have to give you.
It is
What they had to
It is in the
do,
ordinance, no hunting.
yeah, but what they had to do, and that's probably what they had to do before, just from what I remember, don't hold me to it, but just to kind of help you out, I don't have a problem answering something, at least if I have some knowledge of it, is that I know it was petitioned to get it on the ballot, you know, because to get anything on the ballot, you have to petition it, you know, besides your general elections. So I guess, take a look, John could take a look for you and see what
I
that would
appreciate
take.
it.
But, yeah, I'm not for it, so I'm not afraid to say that.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Doesn't the Metro Parks yearly do the culling?
In the
Yes.
metro parks, yes,
Right.
right.
So then I need
I
to,
don't know how many.
I need to notify the Metro Parks to come on my property and shoot towards theirs?
No, you're not allowed to shoot deer in Walton Hills.
They could stand right on the property line.
Well,
I understand what you're saying.
that's up to
But
you.
the issue is, when you have a neighbor that feeds them and invites them in, and when you go to the police and there's nothing they could do, and you've gone down to Natural Resources down in Peninsula, I get the answer, what do you want us to do? That's where I'm at. So that's why I'm standing in front of you. I appreciate you being honest with your opinion. And my opinion is the herd needs to be thinned.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with anybody's opinion, and mine is just one opinion. I'm one person up here, and actually, I don't even, with 5 council members, I don't even vote right now. So,
Mr. Mayor?
that was just my opinion and
I appreciate
where I'm
it.
at, and,
Any further questions for Jim?
go ahead,
I
John.
just wanted to say, a while ago, 15 years, maybe 20 years, we had a resident that was demanding that there was an ordinance with no feeding of any animals. And the mess with it was, you can't feed the birds then, you can't feed the squirrels because they're taking the bird seed, you can't feed the chipmunks, and I think that's how it all came to fruition with Mr. Sprangel
Yeah.
years ago, and that's why it went to the ballot.
Boy, I haven't heard that name in a while. I
Uh-huh.
remember he used to come to our meetings.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I do know that several other communities have successfully implemented something like that, and you mentioned Independence. And I know that there would be people in Walton Hills that would be for it, and I know people very well that would be dead set against it. I would defer to Mr. Montello to first do a little bit of looking into it and see what that process entails. The way we vote on things, if we vote on something under an emergency basis, that means that it's implemented right away as soon as the mayor signs it, okay? And we do that for contracts and things that need to be done right away. If we just do a 3 reading on it and just vote it without an emergency, pass it, then that law doesn't become active until 30 days after passage. That allows the residents what's called a right of referendum. You can then, if you don't like what we passed, you can go out and petition, and that would put a stay on that ordinance or that law, and that would go to the general public for a vote, okay? Something like this, even if Mr. Montello came to us and said, you could vote on that, you don't need to have a generalized petition at first. You could vet it and vote on that. I would not vote on that under an emergency basis, because I would not want to take the right of referendum away from the general population in something that is very heartfelt on both sides of that situation. So we'll see what Mr. Montello comes up with and go from there, but that's where I sit with it. I would definitely do a 3 reading rule on it and not pass it, if we were going to pass it at all, under an emergency basis. I wouldn't vote for that.
We would need the police here for the meetings.
Huh?
We would need the police here for the meetings.
Yes, it would be like the old days, and yes, where it would be standing room only in here. It really would, and it'd be on both sides, and that's fine. So we don't want to shy away from very heartfelt issues on either side also. That's not what we're here to do either. We're here to tackle these types of things. But I do know, I'm with you, I do know that other communities have successfully implemented a hunting ordinance, and it's very strict in how they implement it, who can do it, and what they can use to kill the deer, bow hunting, things like that. I do know that.
Anybody else have any questions or anything to comment on? Mr. Conkey, anything else?
No, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Anybody else like to? Jeff Alexander?
Jeff Alexander, 7312 Walton Road. Throughout the years, every time around the holidays, I see food drives and things like that, and I always think I wish I could do something. I used to do it when I was in business for a few families. And I called our rec department and said we don't have anything for that. So I'm going to start one in Lindy, naming a lake to it, maybe mid-October into mid-November. Don't know how it's going to work. I'm going to advertise in the Owl, and I was wondering if, who do I talk to about getting it on the bulletin board on the road? If something could be put on there?
Yeah, we wouldn't have a problem with
Who would I
a
talk
volunteer.
to?
I think it's within the village and it's a food drive.
Who would I talk to, Mary?
Mary,
Okay,
yeah.
so I
Mary's
don't
gonna
know,
ask
you know, I don't know
me,
if we're
is
gonna get,
council good with that? Okay.
I don't know if we're gonna get one box or 10 boxes. And I talked to, St. Mary's Church, and they would distribute the food once I got it here. And I asked them if they could keep it in our zip code, and they said they do, I think he said they do check IDs, but if somebody comes in, and on the average, I was told they get 40 to 50 families every second Thursday, I believe. So I was going to try it and see what happens. And I plan on having like 3 days of collecting, maybe a Saturday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday at the lake. And then I would keep it until we got an amount to bring to St. Mary's. So,
I think that's fantastic, Jeff. We need to get it on the sign. We can
Yeah.
get it on the sign for you.
and I believe, do I have to have something now by the 12th?
For October, October's owl has already been printed.
Right, I mean, for November
For November, yeah, if you get it to us before the 15th,
15th.
you can leave it in the white mailbox or email, either way.
Now, do we pay for that ad, the lake, or to put something in the owl?
I'll talk to you afterwards.
Okay. Another thing, about the Halloween festivities. Last year I brought it up, again, it's on a Sunday night, and children go to school Monday. And I talked to Natalie and Ronnie about it, and they said, well, we're having a band, and the band costs more on Saturday than Sunday, and our budget doesn't fit it. And I said, well, we used to have donuts and cider, and I remember chili or something years back. She said, well, our budget doesn't allow it. Well, I don't see, I think the band part could be adjusted where people would rather have a refreshment. And I know last year, we sat near a couple that had 4 grandchildren, and there was, I believe, a hot dog truck or something. And the man said, I can't afford to buy all my grandkids something. So we thought it was refreshments were furnished. And I'd like to see that maybe happen again, where maybe the band part isn't needed, and it wasn't kids' music, it was just music, it wasn't directed towards children, so I don't know if a band is, necessary for that hayride. So it's just something to bring up, Like I said, I brought it up last year, and same with the other function at the Halloween at the event center was set up the same way. So,
I know me and Diane talked about the day, in the last 3 years, it's been 2 Sundays and 1 Saturday the last 3 years. I didn't go back any far, so it's kind of been adjusted. I don't know, and this is just me talking out loud, Jeff, because I'm not sure. I know Sean and Natalie sit down at the beginning of the year, and they kind of go over the calendar together. Okay, so I don't know if the clam bake was going to be at Saturday night at that time. I know some of that's been adjusted. So let's say if you had a regular clam bake today, then those people at the clam bake wouldn't be able to go to the hayride of this Saturday. So I mean,
yeah, I don't.
all I know is me and Diane looked, because somebody asked Diane, it was always on a Saturday. We went back 3 years, we didn't go back further, and we could, but in the last 3 years, it's been 2 Sundays and 1 Saturday. So it has gone back and forth.
Well, I didn't know there was any discussion between the lake and
They
planning.
meet, Sean.
I
and they
never
go-
heard about it, if there
Yeah,
was.
they do go over the calendar.
Yeah,
I don't really get involved in that, but that's something the Recreation Committee could
Yes.
talk about. I know me and Diane have talked about some of that. In fact, we talked about that, we had Mary look that up last week or something, or a couple weeks ago, I think.
Right, it was a couple weeks ago where
Yeah.
we talked about what day,
Yeah.
because it is hard for children to get up
Yeah.
on Monday morning after
especially if
being
your
out.
grandchildren live, 40 miles away. And they
Right.
come here and,
So we did discuss about the price of a DJ or someone
Mm-hmm.
coming up to play for music.
Right.
They did say it does cost more on Saturday, and it's very hard because of homecomings this time of year to even get somebody booked for a Saturday. And that's why they're so much more expensive, because of all
Right.
these high schools and the homecoming. So we did bring that up, so I'm hoping next year we can try to tweak some of these things. There's also, it was harder to get volunteers on Saturday than it was on Sunday also, to work the event and everything. So we are going to put that as a priority to try and see if we
Okay.
can fix some of that for next year, definitely. And any of the other events, try to work on
Yeah.
all these.
That was a good point, Diane, I forgot about that. It's that we have, just can't let all the secrets out, but our ghouls and goblins and stuff are sometimes younger people. And I know some of that was to get them to be up there on Saturday is a lot harder than Sunday too. And that's a big part of the hayride.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. But like Diane said, I know Diane as chairman of Recreation Community Life has been active in that and concerned about some of those things and has been talking to Natalie about it. So,
Well, I'm glad that you're looking into it.
yeah, it hasn't
Where-
fallen. And we get that. I mean, that's always been, it was like, it's like the Halloween party, when we had it on Halloween, then people said, well, we liked it when we could take our kids trick-or-treating in a neighborhood that we can do trick-or-treating. Our older kids like to do trick-or-treating, but we'd like to bring our kids to your Halloween party. It's just one, I mean, we want the most people there. That's the goal, so.
Okay, well, thanks.
Thanks, Jeff, and then talk to Mary about
Okay, I'll give her a
the
call.
food drive and stuff.
We could always look at going back to the boom box with the scary music over the loudspeaker.
Yeah,
Didn't,
or they had a DJ last year, I think they had a DJ.
Mayor, didn't we used to have a food drive here? I remember bringing groceries to Village Hall all the time.
They,
Maybe it was before 2020.
well, now we have the Benevolent Fund, that got started by a council member, and council put that so people can give stuff to the Benevolent Fund, and they have a pantry and stuff, and the Recreation Community Life Director does distribute that along with gift cards and stuff to any family in Walton Hills in need, and it's discreet about it. You don't have to get, they don't share who it is with anyone else, which is, you guys know the program, which nobody, sometimes you're down and out and you don't want anybody to know, and sometimes we're too proud to ask for help. But we do have the Benevolent Fund. So, but yeah, those are all good things. But it looks like we're gonna have a nice weekend for both events, so that's the main thing. When it rains, it puts a damper on it. Any other questions for old or new business? Okay, can I ask for an adjournment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask for adjournment of the Committee of the Whole meeting for October 1st, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second?
Vote on the motion.
Councilman Nielsen?
Yes.
Councilwoman Kanzoni?
Yes.
Councilwoman Allen?
Yes.
Councilman Spitznagel.
Yes.
Councilman Whedon?
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned at 7:48. Thank you, everybody. Have a good week, good weekend. Hope to see you at one of the events or both.